Welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C. This is brought to you by not only BALM Global LLC, but also the Connected Leaders Academy. I am so excited to be with you guys today and to have my very special guest, which I met in DMV area in, I believe it was Virginia. Amazing conversation, and I just knew I had to have him on. I was also able to see him again live this weekend at Jose's Triple Set Gala, and I am just super excited to have him on. So let me just go over who our guest is today, and that is Matthew Brackett. He is a frequent podcast guest due to depth and breadth of his knowledge, experience, honesty, and vulnerability. And are you navigating the tangled tensions of life, leadership, and the personal and professional side of it? As a leadership resilience educator and coach, he partners with leaders to assess, adapt, and accelerate life transformation by understanding and reconciling their tensions. Clients walk away with reframed clarity and balance along with a personally crafted development plan. He's born 10th of 13 children in a small town in New England. Matthew left home at the age of 18 on a mission to serve others through formal religious ministry. This led him to Italy, Ireland, England, Colombia, Chile, and Mexico, along with a few years of active duty as a special staff officer and chaplain in the U.S. Navy, where he served sailors and Marines. He transitioned from 30 years of formal ministry to life and leadership coaching and educating to continue to serve human development and growth in a variety of professional sectors. Let me welcome Matthew Brackett. How are you?
Hello, Nikki. Thank you. That was quite the mouthful I sent you. But thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
no,
for
absolutely.
It's great to be here with you.
Yes, absolutely. I am so happy to have you on Building a Leadership Mindset. We've had a few conversations in passing, like in our, the two events that we connected on, as well as, I've heard lots of great things about your story through Jose, which actually said you have to have him on your podcast. You have to connect with him. And, after those conversations, I'm like, yeah, I definitely have to have on. And then just meeting you in person, just being able to, have that dialogue and, you're just awesome. So I definitely, again, wanted to have you on to share what your mission is and what you do. But before we get into all of that, Matthew, I would love for you just, wow, 13 children, 10 of 13, my favorite number. It's a lot of people say that it's like an omen number or just a bad juju number, and it's really not. 13 is a great number, and you're 10th in that. So like growing up and, where did you get your sense of entrepreneurship or even the journey that you went on? So tell us a little bit more about you.
Of course. Thank you, Nikki. Yes, I suppose they call 13 also the baker's dozen, right? But it's being the 10th of 13 is my it was an environment where for us it was the normal thing. So but I think some of the benefits it brought for us was my parents were just very generous people. And we see that in all the lives that they brought into the world, but also it taught us a lot of generosity, right? Imagine with 13 or 12 brothers and sisters, you don't have a lot of personal space, right? So sharing is really important. Collaboration is really important. Teamwork is really important. Communication is really important. And not only that, at our house, my parents always had an open door for other people. So we had cousins and friends of the family that came to stay with us during difficult times for them, when they were in transition or needed a roof over their head for a period of time. So our parents taught us really to have big hearts, to be generous. And I suppose that trained me or educated me or gave me insight into wanting to do something really meaningful in the world, meaningful for humanity. And so that led me to stepping into formal religious ministry, which was really, as you mentioned, 30 years of my life between education and formation, as we call it, 10 years of education and formation, and then 20 years of ministry as a Catholic priest. And you mentioned all the different countries that brought me to. So fascinating. It's so blessed to have those years, the experiences, and so blessed to have people allowed me into that sacred space in their life to talk about what was really important to them, whether it was the darkest or difficult moments or whether it was the brightest and best moments of their life, and to share in those. So I really very blessed and very fortunate and very thankful for those years of experience. And then obviously when one has to make big life decisions, they're oftentimes initiated by pain, right? And so I there was a lot of difficult years in my life trying to understand if ministry was the right place for me. While it was so fascinating and beautiful and meaningful, there was also some things that didn't seem to be the right fit, and I tried to make it fit for a long time, and that led to a lot of pain and difficulty, and just the difficulty of considering life choices and life changes. And I suppose your podcast is kind of about that, right? The leadership mindset and mindset shifts and all of that. And so that led me to do a lot of work on myself, to step away from ministry for a bit, for a sabbatical year, to train as a coach, but also to do a lot of therapeutic work on my own, to understand my story and to understand me. I call that year a year of journeying home to myself, because I'd been really away from home for such a long time, and I also, that journey, while so meaningful, I felt that it also brought me away from myself, brought me into all these other identities, and losing my own along the way, all with good intentions, but that's what happened. And so that journey home to myself, and then to reconsider really what I wanted to do with my life and what was the best fit. And so that led me to then leave formal ministry as a chaplain and as a priest, and stepping into the service now to really towards leadership, people in leadership roles, around that blend of the personal and professional, that intersects sometimes complex intersection of finding the balance, finding the peace and clarity in that ebb and flow of life between the personal and professional, which is so important, because when we show up, the way we show up in our personal life is going to directly influence the way we show up in our professional life. And the way they're just so intermingled and so important. And that's sort of my sweet spot as a coach and as an educator, to work with people around that. And business is not my thing, but really working with people in business, or really in any sector, people in those leadership roles, is how they can show up better in their personal life, for their loved ones, for their inner circles, but also for the outer circles. Because as you and I well know, leadership is so important. Everything, as John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. And leadership, when it's well managed, when it's well executed, and when it's healthy, it does so much good for the human person. But when it's poorly managed, when it's unhealthy, when it can be so deeply destructive. And if you bring poor leadership then into the spiritual realm or the faith realm, it can be even more destructive, because it really touches on some really interior and deep fibers of the human person. I don't know if you expected me to say all that, but there we go. That's a little bit about me and what I do. But thank you, Nikki.
Yes, absolutely. Very intriguing. As we all know, we're always having shifts in our lives, and sometimes we don't know which direction to go. And a lot of it falls on really keeping your word to what you say you're going to do, not understanding that nothing's ever set in stone. So sometimes we stay in a place where we're not happy, and where we're not being fulfilled, and when we're not using our full potential. So to know that we can definitely share those aspects of our lives, that there are other opportunities, are different things that we have to find ourselves in our identity. So I'm glad that you said all that. And how important was that for you? What were some of the struggles that really made that decision to take a year off, to kind of find those things? Like, what was going on in your mind that said, you know what, now it's the time to really reevaluate? Because I'm all about reevaluating or reassessing what you're doing, whether it be monthly, quarterly, and things like that. So just kind of tell us, what were some struggles, and how did you make that decision, and what is your purpose with it now?
Right. Thank you, Nikki. So that's a very, I suppose that's a deep question and an equally complex answer that I have, because I suppose as human beings, we have a hard time. It's natural that we sometimes live in denial, or that we're not totally self-aware. Um, so I would say that I suppose because I was really outward focused, although through preparation, we do a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer. So there were a lot of aspects that I developed, but there were other aspects that I became disconnected from myself. And I say that because that can happen to a lot of people in our audience, where we become disconnected from certain aspects of our humanity and our being. Sometimes it's as safety mechanisms that we have, it's as defense mechanisms. Sometimes it's because we just don't know how to access those things, or because it's uncomfortable to look at areas of our life. So all of that sort of led to this disconnect. And I suppose it was just, I am good intentioned, or it was just unconscious, right? This disconnect. But it led then to a lot of, I suppose, an emptiness or discontent, which our body speaks to us. And so that's where, depression, anxiety, when we go through as human beings, that's a language that our soul, that our heart, that our mind, that our psyche has to tell us that something is not aligning properly. Okay, and so especially when we leave something without taking care of it, which is what I did, without attending to it properly, well, that builds up. Right? And so as human beings, we like to, put things under the carpet. It's not a big deal. But if we do that for a lot, then, well, it becomes very visible, all the stuff that we're trying to hide under the carpet. Right? Or what I would, working with Marines, I would often talk about the things that we put in the closet, whether it be a painful situation, a traumatic situation, or whatever it is. There's some things that will do okay in the darkness of a closet, and they'll be there and they won't bother us. But there's other things that when we put them into darkness, they grow. And I suppose that very much relates to my story and to the common human experience. Certain things in darkness, when they're not dealt with, they begin to grow, and they begin to go bad, and they begin to affect every aspect of our life without us really realizing it. And so we try to keep them quiet. We try to keep them without really stinking up the rest of our life. But at some point, it just begins to overflow. So I use that image just to kind of explain my own situation and what I've come across in many people, that's just a common human experience. And what's important in this is leaning into it. So I suppose what led to this is, like I said, certain painful experiences, and also just crisis, but also professional crisis, being let go from a pretty high profile job, which really because of organizational politics and other stuff, it was one of those moments. And when I tell the story, I was standing in a Roman plaza where I said I was at a place where I never wanted to be in my life. And this happened a few times over my, and then what do we do with that? And when you're talking about mindset, what do we do with finding myself where I never wanted to be? And I talk a lot about resilience, and it's learning to not only bounce back but bounce beyond. That it's easy for me to say, okay, but it takes years to do. And it really takes a lot of courage, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of honesty. By no means am I saying that I did it all right. I'm learning as I go. But that's a little bit about my story. I threw in a little bit of tidbits to also help your audience if any of them are dealing with this in some way or another.
Awesome. Bounce beyond. I love that writer downer, as we say, right? You don't just want to bounce back, you want to bounce beyond your own expectations and those of others, and how you can really serve in that capacity. So thank you so much for that. And also, you said that well, you said a lot of things. There were so many things, and I just lost my train of thought because it was like your second one, but I was stuck on the bounce beyond. But it's so true. There is, I love when you talked about some things are put in the closet and some can filter there and kind of just lay at rest, but there's other stuff that can actually grow and can make it worse than actually what it is if you don't really face them head on. And how would you define at what level, like how would you know what needs to be tackled and what needs to be put to rest? And it's probably like a vague, broad a vague, broad question. But just kind of tell us, what are the important topics, mindsets that you should have to face head on when it comes to your life journey or
Thank
anyone's
you.
life.
It is. It is a hard question to answer, but I think anything that brings pain to our life, or I would also say anything that might bring, again, pain is also a broad topic, but where pain, but also mistakes and challenges that we're going through. Oftentimes, as human beings, we keep those things quiet, and more so in people in leadership roles or entrepreneurs, people who we feel like we have to, I suppose, not just that, it's everybody. We all want to look like we have it all together, right? But the reality is that we don't. We're all fumbling our way through life trying to make it work, and so many are doing that in such a great manner. But we all have those pain points, and we all have those challenges, and we all have those mistakes that we've made. And so I think owning them, but not only on a personal level, because as human beings, and hence the importance of the work that I and so many other people do, is we need someone to talk it out with, because that's how we process as human beings. And that's how we take things from outside, from underneath the carpet, or from inside the closet, and that's when we express something, when we process something through words, whether it be through journaling or whether it be through talking to someone, we take ownership of it. We hear ourselves say it. It becomes much more real to us. And we will then, through that, we will find why it was so important to deal with it. We will find the answers we're looking for. As a coach, it's not about, I don't give the answers to anybody, but I've looked to facilitate a process that they can find the answers that they're looking for. But it's so, as human beings, we need someone. We need someone to mirror and to listen and so that we can kind of see ourselves, hear ourselves, and have it reflected back to us, always in that confidential and very compassionate and supportive environment, which can be therapy, which can be coaching, which can be a very good friendship. So that would be the briefest answer to what you said.
I believe that dialogue needs to happen. And like you said, as a coach, we don't give you the answers. You actually receive them as you're embracing and acknowledging and accepting and taking accountability of those things that you have defined to either have stopped you from growing, stop you from moving forward. So we just help you kind of define that, identify that, and really guide you through that. So thank you for touching base on that. And I love that it's, pains, mistakes, challenges. No one is perfect. No one is perfect at all. We are just here to serve, to find our life's purpose, to be able to give back. And I love also that you said we're fumbling through life, and it's okay, but we don't have to fumble alone, which is the main importance of building a leadership mindset. You have to build that mindset that you don't have to tackle, these challenges alone. There's people that either been through your process or worse that can actually help you, that are just out there waiting for you to just ask for that assistance, ask for that mentorship, ask for that coaching, because it's available. And thank you for saying all of that. And we're going to get back to you in just a moment. We're going to listen to a few words from our sponsor, and I'm going to put that up now. And we will come back with Matthew Brackett. One moment.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out. on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Welcome back. We have Matthew Brackett with us, and that was Jose Escobar. Definitely connect with him, have a virtual coffee, and see how the Connected Leaders Academy can assist you in growing and scaling and all that great stuff. And Matthew, just to touch base on that a little bit, how important is community for you going through the journey that you're going through right now?
Yes, thank you, Nikki. Community has always been important. You know, in my ministry and religious life, I was part of a community for those 30 years, and there was so many supportive elements to that. And now in my transition, it's been so important. I mean, I can't even say, because I'm reinventing myself professionally, where I was very good at what I did before, but I'm stepping into an area where there's certain aspects, certain things that I think I am good at. I bring a lot of strengths and skill sets to it, but there's a lot of elements about entrepreneurship, about starting a business, about just stepping into a different professional space, which I I don't know a lot about. And so community, it brings so much wealth of knowledge, it brings support, it brings and just the goodness. And a community like Connected Leaders Academy, or BLN, also where we met, is such good-hearted, good-natured people, and where it's all about teamwork and collaboration, and it's not about the ego. And so I have found that very supportive and encouraging.
And what is your passion and mission for 2023? And what can how can we get a hold of you? What, things you have going on? Kind of share that with us.
Thank you. I have a lot going on. This is a big year. I'm finishing a master's degree in the psychology of leadership this semester, and then I'm starting my practice. And there's two levels to it. One is the individual coaching aspect for individuals in leadership roles, as I already spoke about. And then there's the educational piece, conferences, workshops, seminars, again, around personal development, around development of leadership skills and abilities. And the big word on, authentic leadership, transformational leadership, servant leadership. So my passion, Nikki, is the human person. Because of where I come from, but also of my experience in ministry, I love the human person. And I want to continue to serve humanity and make a difference. That's why I went to ministry, and that's also why I continue to do what I'm doing. So that's really what I'm passionate about. In my work, there's something that I do use with individuals called the results accelerator. So if people are looking for, even if they don't want a long coaching relationship, even if they're looking for a high impact, short coaching relationship, about 7, 8, 9 hours that we can spread over a few weeks, I use the results accelerator, which helps people to really gain a lot more clarity about who they are, their identity, their needs, their values, about their goals, and a roadmap about how to get to the goals, how to get the results we're looking for. And oftentimes, as human beings, I mean results that are much more like love, happiness, contentment, fulfillment, and things like that, peace. We have goals, and we have results that we get from reaching those goals, and we'll come away from that results, etc., with a very clear roadmap. So that's one of the things that I offer to people. And again, impactful short-term commitment, but high long-term results, with about who, like you said, mindset and that shift that we're looking for in order to get to the next level that people want to get to. So that's one of the services that I offer.
That is awesome, Matthew. And I've been having your handles scrolling at the bottom, so you can reach. Just let us know which 3 locations that we can reach you at, and just have a chat. Have our audience reach out for your results accelerator course.
Yes, reach me on LinkedIn, reach me on Instagram, my website, and I look forward to being able to support any people in any other way as well. But thank you, Nikki.
Actually, you have been absolutely phenomenal. Again, Love the way you speak. Loved your speech at Jose's again event as well. It definitely shows that you're just looking to help and serve, and really being a part of this community. Just seeing you from BLN live to this event, and hopefully you can make a May 20th event, which I'm having, which is Empower to Inspire. That's May 20th in the Philadelphia area. So we'll talk about that and see how you can be a part of that as well, because again, I see that you have so much to give and so much to really share with the world. And if my platform could be that for you, I would love to have you when it comes to building a leadership mindset and everything that I have going on. So I really want to thank you so much for becoming a guest, and hopefully you'll be back on to share some more wisdom as you continue to grow. And I am looking forward to seeing that journey as well. So if you want to leave us with a final few words on our audience, to our audience, about anything you want to tell us, I would love to have that.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. And thank you for all the great work that you do to empower and inspire. And thank you for giving me this platform to share with you and with the audience. Going back to when you said bounce back, I have to give credit to where credit due. That's a phrase that I got from Robert Party, who's a good friend of mine, and we're linked on LinkedIn. When we talk about resilience, oftentimes we can compare ourselves to others, to their ability to bounce back and to bounce beyond, but it's a very personal thing. If we use rubber bands as an example, each rubber band has its ability to stretch more, stretch less, or glasses, right? Some glass are bigger, some glass. To understand just what our resilience is, how far can we stretch? Because we obviously don't want to break ourselves, right? But so just to understand what's the size of our rubber band, how much can we stretch, how much can we get in there and do, and so it's a very personal thing, and to be very careful with comparisons, because comparisons, as we well know, can lead to a lot of frustration and discouragement, because we're comparing our ideals to someone else's or expectations to someone else's. So it leads us to enter into a lot of negative cycles, either towards other people or towards ourselves. So it's a very personal journey, and I just want to offer my encouragement for each one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matthew. There you have it, Matthew Brackett, part of the BALM family now. Super excited to have had you on our show, and I know you are going to move many listeners as well. And again, can't wait to continue to see your journey and what 2023 is going to bring all of us. And it's just time right now to really look at inside and see what you can do on the outside to just make your life better and those around you, because that's really the true purpose of finding our purpose and just live, not existing in what people tell us that we have to do or think or have to think. This is your life. You take it into your own hands and shift that mindset any way that you can. Thank you for listening to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Again, I'm your host. Have a great day and make it count.